It is Dom time. Welcome in, everyone. The breaking news reading early this morning. The Hunter Biden legal team says we've taken it too much. Our client, to help the White House, et cetera, has gone along with all this odious stuff. Hunter Biden's tired of it. He's not putting up with it anymore. Bring it on. He wants to testify publicly. Now, look. I know the big order with Hunter Biden is the connection to Joe Biden, the election, the whole scam, the corruption of Joe Biden. I got to tell you, though, on this one, I want Hunter Biden in jail for as long as possible, even if it doesn't lead to Joe Biden going down on this or being dinged. He is the face of privilege. He is the exact face that they always talk about. This clown. And today's nugget is, as I just told Dawn, it's only a story by a guy who's brilliant, Dan. We've had him on, Ben Weingarten on Twitter. He traces little Abigail. She is the 4-year-old, the only American that Hamas has released, at least as far as I know at this point. They've even taken a 10-month-old hostage and traded it off like it's a draft pick to another terror group. Just the sheer, just when you think you've reached rock bottom with these animals, and that's exactly what they are. They have no cause for grievance to any of the type of stuff that we're seeing going on. They've traded off a 10-month-old hostage to another terror group in South Gaza to kind of screw things up even more. But the 4-year-old who is released, her great aunt, Liz Hirsch Naftali, and her cousin, Noah Naftali, they're the ones who, well, at least the great aunt, they bought Hunter Biden's artwork. Now, do I know here they were given priority since they bought the artwork? Because any of the hostages that get released, it's a golden day. In any way, shape, or form, let's get them all and then go in and kill every one of Hamas and keep killing them for as long as, if it takes years, keep killing them. New ones spring up, kill them. I mean, it's an obvious thing. Imagine trading off a 10-month-old hostage. And here in this situation, kind of curious that the Biden corruption, his artwork, can you imagine this idiot, this genius, this Van Gogh? So he wants to testify. I don't know why the delay. I think Comer ought to send a limo over for him, or several limos, or, some adult party favors of various sorts. Yeah. Sit down at your coat. Would you, can we help you with your nose there, Hunter? My God, can you imagine him testifying? And I think it would be for a committee that Jim Jordan is on. Oh, man. So will they do it? They're going to look bad if this guy calls them out and says, I'm willing to testify on December 13th or the 15th. Those are the two dates being talked about. Well, Dom, I don't know. If he testifies publicly, they can't talk about this, that, and the other. It'll still be obvious. We'll still have him on a record. He'll still lie under oath. There is no doubt. If you can't get this guy on the record lying, then you're not doing your job. So, yeah. He's going to be more aggressive now. He's tired of being pushed around here. This outright child of privilege, this whole corrupt, bizarro family. Thinking of the computer guy, how they've gone after him over in Wilmington. Just the stuff that he's engaged in. And what's the attraction? What is it with these dopey women? The former wife of this one, the lover of this one. They all need Hunter Biden. All right. So, where our eye is on that, Republicans ought to be holding a conference right now saying, yep, why wait till December 13th? Come on in now. Now at 12:30 today, we're going to talk with Craig Williams. He is a representative out in the suburbs running for attorney general, but he's also the lead attorney. The Krasner hearings are going on now. We're told from the inside, the judges are being pretty indulgent to the Krasner attorneys. This is over clarifying the impeachment status of Larry Krasner. Now, Dan, if they ever show up here with a court order saying I can't say the impeach Larry Krasner, send them into the studio. I'll put them on air and I'll tell them how much we're going to say. I'm going to say that as much as Jimmy Matthews, President Trump. Impeach Larry, not DA Larry Krasner. By the way, several cops sent me. Did you happen to notice where this maniac who was stabbing people was stopped, shot by the SEPTA police?
Yes.
Right in front of Larry Krasner's office. I could see Krasner.
Did you write it better? I mean,
yeah, get this guy out of here. We don't want to prosecute this guy. What are you doing? Out of all the places in the world, he comes to right in front of Larry Krasner's office in downtown Philadelphia. My God. All right. So the other thing that we have going on, let me see if I can connect the dots here. Nikki Haley, look, when we had her on a few times in the past, there was a stir because we hadn't gotten underway and we hadn't seen how this was going to play out. But the Koch brothers this morning have endorsed Nikki Haley. Now, that means they've dissed Ron DeSantis. That means they believe Haley is the establishment choice to take down President Trump. Now, Chris Christie, of all people, has made the point, not on the George Bush address, let's find a war, Nikki Haley, but how Haley in Iowa has now said, after all that talk about abortion in the right way, she wants a 15-week national ban on abortion, which leads me to this point. When are we going to stop Iowa and those people there from determining, and I believe putting Republicans into a hole? In other words, these people knock themselves out to take positions that the crazy caucus there want. And these out-of-touch, alleged Christian conservative leaders. And then they're stuck with them when they come to the general election against the Democrat. We're seeing that play out again with Nikki Haley. Got a cut here of the Vanderplatz guy. You can't make this guy's name up. Going after Trump again and saying, like in the Bible, Iowa is going to rise up and stop Trump. I happened to see this morning Cal Thomas. Now, he's a guy that used to be a powerhouse, Christian writer, big time. And I'm reading this long piece savaging Trump today, talking about how evangelical Christians, and you may be one, and I want to hear from you. Cal Thomas used to be very defensive of this, now attacking, saying you're giving up the kingdom of God because you're making Trump a ruler. Haven't we satisfied this so many times that people are saying, look, I am not speaking up for Trump's moral character. I don't like this, that, and the other. But if we don't win the presidency with someone who is effectively going to turn things around, then it's all over. Isn't that the deal? Didn't we go through that in 2020 and 2016? Here it is again. And Cal Thomas, of all people, even citing a new book coming out, talking about you're losing the kingdom of God for the kingdom of Trump. Now, here's the Vanderplatz guy laying out why he thinks these people in Iowa, and here's my prediction. Even though Trump has a very healthy lead in Iowa, and he's not going to lose Iowa this time. He lost it in 2016 to Ted Cruz, if you remember. This is a dangerous place for Republicans. These people are extreme, and particularly on the abortion issue. Ron DeSantis, 6-week abortion. Nikki Haley now, 15-week national ban. Trump, smartly, hasn't said anything like that. All right, here's Vanderplatz. Why is Iowa going to rise up and stop Trump?
And what you're seeing from the former president is character being revealed. Character being revealed, first of all, of Governor Reynolds and what he did by cutting a video against her. Two of the most popular governors and the most results-producing governors in the country, the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, the governor of Iowa, Kim Reynolds, and you completely throw them under the bus and you call them names, and that just because they don't bow the knee to you. That's not leadership. The number one hurdle for Donald Trump is I've never met a dad or a mom or a grandpa or a grandma who have told me they want their son or daughter or grandchild to grow up to be like him. That's a big deal. Trump deserved to lose my endorsement.
All right.
Matter of fact, I've never endorsed him, but he proved he was not worthy of the endorsement of me, of the ministry, and by extension, the broader body. And I believe Iowa will rise up. I believe Iowa will send a message on January 15, because I think they're seeing through this as well. This is smoke and mirrors. This is not leadership our country needs.
Now, this guy also said recently something to the effect that they said they're tired of the golden showers. Some grandmom said this to him. Like, we believe that. They want to get back to talk of the gold standard. Yeah. Now, he did endorse in 2008, and this tells you where this guy's gone. Look, we love having Mike Huckabee on here, but he said some things from the Christian perspective back in 2008 that would be difficult to win a presidency with. Then he endorsed in 2012 Rick Santorum. Same kind of bent. Then in 2016, I guess he couldn't find one of those guys. He endorsed Ted Cruz. And he says all three won. He's going to stop Trump this time. I think what they're hoping for is it will be relatively close. Trump wins by 10, 12, 15 points versus winning by an enormous number as he is now, at least according to polling. Republicans, it's too late this time around. This Iowa caucus outfit, I've been there. I covered it in person. It was obnoxious. It was annoying. They don't represent the country. There's no diversity. There's no industry. There's no big cities. Big city, Des Moines, 5-minute cab ride and you're out of it. Come on. But this is where we end up, and they call the tune, and these people are going out of their way, and then you get boxed in. Trump is not doing that. But are these people in Iowa really saying, these grandmoms, yeah, I don't want my kid to be Trump? Here we go again. Same tactic in 2016, 2020 with Trump, seeing it play out again here. And again, Nikki Haley is where they're going. Trump voters in general are not going to come out for Nikki Haley. What a choice it would be. Nikki Haley on ending wars or Joe Biden. I could see those that are enthused because of Trump, a big slice of them saying, no, I'm not going to vote then, as regrettable as that is. So how they think Nikki Haley is the antidote. It's because the big Republican donors are against the voters again. They're against Republican voters. They can't accept what Republican voters are telling them. It's obvious what they're telling them. They want Trump. All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210. Now, Dan and I had quite a long discussion. Sometime on the side question, we're tweaking and retweaking like it's the Gettysburg Address. I don't want to say 40 and whatever numbers of years. I want to say 80 years, not 40. So I'm not going to do that. All right, here's what we came up with. Yesterday, Merriam-Webster says that the number one word of this year is authentic. We talked about it yesterday. AI, there's an AI story where Sports Illustrated made up sports writers, put their pictures on it, and had AI write the magazine. I don't think anybody reads Sports Illustrated magazine anymore. And now AI is writing it?
Yeah.
How could AI write about the Philadelphia Eagles? Can you imagine how stilted and
Just
warped it would be?
stats and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beep, boop,
Just,
beep,
you know,
boop. Eagles
yeah.
will win. Beep,
Yeah.
boop.
Yeah. All right. So we're looking for a person that fools, in your view, a lot of people to thinking they're authentic.
Yeah.
But you don't.
Yeah. Someone you see right through.
Yes.
They're completely transparent. Like somehow they woo an entire population of individuals into thinking that they're authentic, they're genuine. But you're there sitting there saying, there's no way. They're faking it. They're faking it.
All right, I'm waiting for my big moment here, Mr. DeMille. I'm taking Taylor Swift off.
Oh,
yes,
no. Come on.
Swift.
Really?
She's out. She's off.
You know, I thought you might go that direction when I said it, and I didn't know for sure. But
no, I had to. And I'm taking Ken Jennings off. It is a more obvious.
Do you really
one.
think Taylor Swift's fake, though? Like,
yes.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it's as authentic. I didn't like it when she was here beating up on a guy doing his job because his fans might have fallen out of a balcony, and she berates the guy. I look at it as, come on, let the guy alone here. You're not scoring your point here with your fans because you're hollering at some low rent guy here who I think is doing his job.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll take one off. Who do I want to take off? There are so many different ones. One being Cher. I think Cher is,
Oh,
if
yes.
you're gonna throw me Taylor Swift, I'll throw Cher. There's an entire sect of people that think, oh, she's so genuine, she's so kind, lovable.
Right.
No, she's not. She's
Okay.
fake. She's a Hollywood elite.
Well, there is the wig. Yeah, there is that.
Another one I'm going to take off is Tyra Banks.
Oh, yeah.
Tyra
I think
Banks,
that's a great one.
for some reason, the fashion industry thinks she's so authentic and genuine, but I see right through it.
Yeah.
She tried hosting Dancing with the Stars, man, and it was
Horrible.
terrible.
Exactly.
And one I'll take from the other side of things, but you know what? We had a discussion about this yesterday. Pat Sajak is someone that portrays himself as incredibly authentic, but his true self is definitely not what he presents on air. But you see it cracking. Like yesterday, he made fun of some kid for a bad answer. So I like that. But Pat Sajak on Twitter is very vocally conservative. He's a very controversial, quote, controversial individual, according to the media.
Yes.
But he's known as the guy that's in your living room every day and relatable and lovable to a huge, huge population.
I don't think he ever says he's lovable. He's kind of snarky when
Do
I
you
see
think
him.
so?
Yeah. But he is America's host, I guess.
But
now.
he's too positive. I like Pat Sajak. But
I like him. Yes, I do. Yeah.
But there are so many out there that try to portray themselves authentic. I'm going to take one more big one off the board just because if it's said, we can't, it's like the god of this answer. It's Howard Stern. Because for years, and I want to expand the question too. Who's somebody that maybe you once thought was authentic and now you're like, they're fake as hell?
Yeah, exactly.
And for me, that's Howard.
You think he was authentic then, though? I do too.
No. Like, is this what his end goal was, to be part of the elite the entire time? I don't know. Has it adjusted over the years?
I think it's adjusted.
Yeah, when he was 80s, 90s, when he was doing the counterculture kind of stuff, I do think it was a big, middle finger, a genuine middle finger to corporate.
I do too.
Yeah.
I don't think he's that good of an actor to do that.
Yeah, but then it became fake. Yeah.
All right, so 855-839-1210. The Murphys, taking them off the board. Hey, stop us here. You got to get in before we take them off the board, particularly Mrs. Murphy. Phil has been out of a long time ago. Tammy Murphy, though. The Queen wasn't here today.
Yeah, let's take Bill Clinton off, too.
Yeah, well, of course, the Queen, you're not going to get it out yet.
Let's try to stay away from political answers.
Yeah,
political answers are easy. I mean, everyone tries to be relatable.
But let's try to find something a little bit more sort of outside the box. All right, 855-839-1210. Somebody a lot of people think is very authentic, but you see through it, you think not. That's what we're looking for. And your reaction now, Hunter Biden. Yes, go for it. I'm sure. I don't think they were flummoxed. They weren't expecting this. He's going to be more aggressive, too. Have you no shame? Can you see Hunter Biden saying to Jim Jordan, have you no shame? As was said to to Senator McCarthy when they did the commie hearings. Nah, I don't think so. I think Jim Jordan is saying, that's it. I'll show you shame.
You threw me so off balance with your Taylor Swift answer. I forgot to give my biggest answer.
Yes.
Bruce Springsteen.
Oh,
come on, New Jersey. We know he's not genuine. Why do we continue to say he's authentic? He's fake as anything.
Oh, man. All right. That had to happen. Talk about staying inside the Talk Radio 1210 box.
Yeah.
I mean, I criticize him for it. The music is fraudulent. The whole theme of it is. I agree with that. As a performer, though, I don't think he is. All right.
So on Twitter, you think it's fair to put who's somebody that a lot of people see as authentic, but you see through as fake?
Yes,
awesome.
Exactly. 855-839-1210. That's how you get in. AT&T and Verizon Wireless, all you have to do is just push pound 1210. Get in on the side question. But Hunter Biden, what's the downside of letting him testify publicly? Are they going to let Hunter Biden box him now? Because they're going to say, well, but we're really after Joe Biden. Some of this stuff is sensitive. No. Let's have him testify publicly. Let's get moving on something for once. Tell him right now. Jim Jordan, just take to the house. Bring it on, buddy. Be in your wrestling togs. Come on over here. Why don't you come over this week? Why wait until the 13th or 15th? Come on over tomorrow. I'll meet you right here. 855-839-1210. You get in with Dom and Dan on Talk Radio 1210. Tom Giordano Show. Welcome in, everyone. 855-839-1210. You get in. So President Trump's lawyers in the really one of the seminal cases, the case before the judge in Washington where the gag order and all that's going back and forth, they have made a, quote, good faith basis to question the results of the 2020 election. They assert that Trump was not obligated to accept at face value the judgments of government officials who found no widespread fraud in the election. The argument here is, did Trump admit and know there was no widespread fraud? Whatever, they always put the widespread in. There obviously were fraud, shenanigans, all that right here in Pennsylvania. And the argument is that Trump knew this and thereby was lying, was going forward with this and caused a lot of damage. That's going to be impossible to prove. I'm sure they think they'll call a lot of witnesses around this. Their argument is there were enough things there that made it not unreasonable to hold that position. And even if you held it at that point in time, it wasn't criminal to hold it. So I don't see how in the world they're going to convict on Trump's state of mind, how the testimony, other than they're counting on a jury and this judge in a place like Washington, D.C. to just convict. That's the only real danger that's here in this state of mind thing. But I told you the breaking news, Hunter Biden wanting to testify. I know what the downside is. I know what some people are going to say, which is, no, if he testifies publicly, that will give him too much of an ability to evade anything that connects to President Biden. That's what the game is. No, I'm telling you what the game is. Hunter Biden has got it. Remember when they had the deal, then at the last minute it fell through. He's gotten, with his lawyers, into his head that he is the aggrieved party here. And he's tired of all this stuff. I'm tired of all of it.
He's the victim.
Yeah, he's the victim.
He's the victim.
He wrote that article about how we're attacking him.
Wah.
You know, it just sickens me with this whole addict thing with this guy. That to me, that's a shield. It's around me. I say addict. You can't say anything. Has anybody gotten away with more by claiming addiction? He thinks he's been attacked. We're still attacking him. Oh, poor addict. My God. The whole society is saying, and I believe correctly, this is a society. I mean, the other side is the cancel culture. You're canceled for life. The society's saying, essentially, hey, people can be redeemed. I tell the story all the time. The last interview I did with Michael Vick, I think he's a redeemed guy. And look at how awful what he did was in the minds of most people. They can't even imagine it. But this guy's not redeemed, not in the slightest. And you know it, and I know it. When cocaine was found there in the White House, the first person we thought of was Hunter Biden, or related in his circle of people. He's got the phony artwork. He got away with the laptop. It's stunning to see what kind of game he's played. He's the victim. All addicts are victims. He tarnishes the goodwill that people have toward people overcoming, and you have tons of people listening right now who have overcome some kind of addiction, be it cigarettes, drugs, alcohol. And this guy wants to trot that out after he's abused everything imaginable. Do you know that the Biden's dam will not put up Christmas stockings, those low rent creeps at the White House this year? And I think they did it last year. You know why they won't do it? They don't want to be told they have to put up, what is it, the 7th grandchild or 8th, whatever the number is.
Oh, come on.
No,
really?
Just saw it the other day.
Wow.
Dr. Jill Biden came up with her crappy decorations.
Great people they are.
And yet they're not going to put up, at least publicly, maybe to privately. Oh, yeah, we're going to do it privately. And we're not putting that stocking up.
Yeah.
You know why? They got singed for
Decency.
it. And rightfully so. It's got to be painful. I wouldn't like it if you had a son like this. My God, who would?
And it's sad because you're right. Addiction is a horrible thing that a lot of people do suffer from. And this guy's using it he's exploiting it. He's exploiting it to defend his horrible, horrible actions. It's ridiculous at this point.
And now we're at the point where he is wanting to be more aggressive because he's tired out from it, says Politico and these others. And the evidence is here today. The evidence says, yes, I'm going to be more aggressive. You want me to testify? You're darn right I want to testify. Let's bring it on. I don't know why Republicans are hesitating here. What's the downside? Well, we got some grand scheme. You know what, guys? Let's put some points on the board, Dan. Let me be blunt here. The average listener is saying, you know what? Kick the field goal, Borowski. Let's not do a Philly special 2 times around the field or whatever. Put some points on the board.
Yeah.
Put Hunter Biden under oath. Get him lying. Sweat him. Let's see what else we can get out of him. And put him in jail. How do you like that? Yeah, but we want to get the big guy, who the big guy is with this, and maybe he can't say that publicly. I don't know if that's what it is. I'm appalled that Republicans haven't said by now, hopefully before the end of the show they will, yes, bring it on, Hunter Biden, come to town. Let me take one quick one here, get one on the board. Let me go to Dave and Wayne. He's got a questionable one, I think. Dave, hey, what do you have on the side question today?
I suggest Pat Boone.
Tell us why Pat Boone.
Oh.
Yeah, he presents himself as Mr. America. He stole Little Richard's songs. He's just, I think he's a despicable guy.
All right, I got to check. All right, give us some reason. I don't see it, though. Pat Boone seems pretty good to me.
Hot out of the gate. I love
but
it.
Dan, he goes back. How far back is that? The songs he's talking about. That's
right.
a lot. I like it, though. If Pat Boone is not authentic, we're in big trouble. Wow.
Weigh the dice. Both Kelly Ripa and Ryan Seacrest, they watched them for 10 minutes the other day and turned it off. You can tell that they'd rather be anywhere else but on that stage. It's like what Nicky Santoro says in Casino. It's all about the dollars.
Who said that?
Weigh the dice, 77.
Boy, what a new addition to Twitter, Nicky Santoro. I'm not believing, by the way, Joe Pesci hooking up with what's her name, even though I never thought she was incredible. Yes. Coming up, we're going to talk with Representative Craig Williams. He's with us. He's running for Attorney General. Good to see that. We'll talk about that. But mainly, he is in Harrisburg, where Krasner land is today. The hearing over the impeached Larry Krasner. Yes. This is all still alive. He's next here on Talk Radio 1210. All right, big issues, big guest. Dom Giordano's show. It might be big interruption because Representative Craig Williams out there in the suburbs is the lead person making the argument for the continuing status of impeachment of Larry Krasner. That's necessary if we're ever going to get the trial of Larry Krasner. He's in Harrisburg. He's also running for Attorney General in Pennsylvania. Let's go to Representative Craig Williams. Craig, welcome in. Thanks very much for joining us. I know you might be called back in. So far, what's been the argument of the Krasner people?
Well, so first of all, thanks for having me back on, Dom. I'm actually not in Harrisburg. I'm doing it remotely.
Okay.
Our counsel is retired Judge Bob Gracie is making arguments on behalf of me and Representative Bonner, who are the impeachment managers, before the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. We've been at it since about 9:30 this morning. We are the fourth lawyer to argue. and we still haven't been called up yet, but they're on council number 3 right now. The Krasner team and Senator Costa's team, arguing on his behalf, also have been basically making constitutional procedural arguments all day long. That when the last legislative session ended, the articles of impeachment died with us. That there are no impeachable offenses here, and importantly, that because the legislative term ended, there was no power remaining in the Senate. Of course, you and I have talked about this before. We impeached him in the last session, and before that legislative session ended, Representative Bonner and I hand-delivered and read to the Pennsylvania Senate all 7 of the articles of impeachment. So, those are interesting academic arguments, but I would imagine that most of the court's attention is going to be focused on our arguments about whether or not the 7 articles of impeachment constitute impeachable offenses.
What is the main one? Is the main one something along the lines of he is just flouting the laws of Pennsylvania? And basically, in layman's terms, you can't have this, on minor. We know about discretion, but this is way past discretion.
That is Larry Krasner's argument, that they have impeached me because they don't like me and they don't like my policies, and the people of Pennsylvania or Philadelphia elected me because of my policies, and it's just simply not true. He was impeached mainly because of his conduct in 3 different cases, and you and I have talked about the one with regard to Officer Pownall,
right,
who was involved in a lawful shooting. His own internal expert came to the conclusion that it was a lawful shooting, and still Larry Krasner went to a grand jury, did not tell them the state law around lawful shootings by police officers, instead just left the law sitting on the table, got an indictment for murder, and then immediately set about going all the way up to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court to try to change the law of lawful shootings so that he could indict this person lawfully. And all along the way, being deceitful to the grand jury, being deceitful to the trial court, and then being deceitful to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. That is actual misconduct in office. And as you and I have spoken before, I believe it constitutes a crime in Pennsylvania.
I believe it does too. I'm glad you clarified that. So how long do you expect something like this they need to deliberate after all the arguments are made? Would we see some decision this year?
I don't know if it will be this year. I do get the sense from listening to argument today that the Pennsylvania Supreme Court does want this definitively decided. So I don't know that they will extend it out until next year, Dom. But I do think that it's going to require a lengthy opinion because there are a number of constitutional questions here that haven't really been answered in a number of years since the Larson case. And, top among them is what constitutes adequate misbehavior in office. And to get there, they're going to have to ignore the fact that in 3 different instances, we've charged actual unlawful conduct.
And the judge-elect of the Supreme Court, he would not be involved in this. So is it 6 justices rather than 7 that are hearing it?
It would be 6 normally, but Justice Dougherty, who issued a scathing opinion in the Pownall case, recused himself from hearing this. So right now there are 5 justices listening to argument, and they will be the 5 participating in the opinion.
Well, look, that's honorable by the justice. You know what, though? I wish he hadn't done it because he was exactly on point in the Pownall case. So much so, you know this, and listeners, I think now know, Craig, it's rare where a justice would actually have their name in this, be the lead, be the obvious voice. And he said it so clearly, the damage that Krasner did to this officer and the manner in which he did it. So only 5 justices at this. Now, your run for attorney general, boy, this is like running for president. It's a crowded field. There's a gazillion Democrats on the other side. And then there are at least a few Republicans. Listeners should know by now how important this office is, particularly with Josh Shapiro there. People usually want balance, and the attorney general's office gives some balance.
Yeah, this is, I don't know that it's rising to the level of the presidential campaign, but it is extraordinarily important to Pennsylvania, and perhaps even more important to the city of Philadelphia and the collar counties. There is an opportunity here for the right attorney general to bring the full weight of that office to bear in making Philadelphia and the 5 collar counties a safer place. As you and I have talked before, there's no escaping Philadelphia violence in Delaware County. I mean, it's come down here. I can't say that in the end of the county where I live that it's to the scale of Philadelphia, but it's frightening. And as you and I talked last year, I was instrumental in getting the gun violence task force passed out of the House, which would give the attorney general concurrent jurisdiction to prosecute gun crimes in Philadelphia. And I mean by that, possession crimes by prior convicted felons. It's illegal under state and federal law for a prior convicted felon to even possess a gun, and to give the Attorney General's office the jurisdiction to prosecute those crimes when Krasner will not means that you are taking a significant step forward in getting your arms around violence and fighting back.
Well, you are the preeminent guy on this, second to none. That's exactly right. And with the new mayor, new police commissioner, having an attorney general, it's such an obvious thing. This is probably the most obvious thing against Krasner from a layman, the former police commissioner even. A felon cannot even possess a gun. Case closed. Krasner apparently thinks that is a bad idea. How will they protect themselves? It'll increase poverty, et cetera. There's that in the shoplifting thing, I think, are the two obvious things to anybody, at least paying a little bit of attention about what's going on here. So if people are supportive, go ahead, Craig.
No, I was just going to say, and that's Article 7 of the Articles of Impeachment, which is the usurpation of state law. In other words, categorically refusing to prosecute certain classes of crimes, which the district attorney of Delaware County has asserted also. I don't know how you can stand in front of a crowd, put your hand on a Bible or your holy book, and raise your right hand and swear to defend the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and then say, except for some of the crimes with which I disagree, or that I think are too harshly punished, or that when a crowd of dozens of people go into a store and completely ransack it, we don't want to ruin their future by prosecuting them, which is what we've heard out of Larry Krasner. That is an unconstitutional take on your official office. And I can tell you, as the Attorney General, number one, we'll talk later about what may be the case with Larry Krasner personally. But I can tell you the Attorney General definitely has a foot in the door in making Philadelphia and the collar counties a safer place to live.
Now, you mentioned the Delaware County DA, Jack Stolzheimer, who I've been pleasantly surprised with versus the initial Krasner-like opinion here. What law is he bypassing?
Well, he stated in his announcement that he's not going to enforce certain of the drug possession laws, which I think is a fine progressive take if that's what you want your politics to be. But your remedy for small possession crimes is to go to the General Assembly and change the law. That's just simply the way it works when you're the chief law enforcement agent of any of the counties or the entire Commonwealth of the state of Pennsylvania.
I would agree. And the fact that he would state that is a pretty obvious opportunity for whoever the Republican is, in your view. And I know it's a little bit, I'm just trying to get somebody who has a better sense of this than I. Is Stolzheimer the chief candidate on the Democrat side?
I don't really know at this point. I do know that Jared Solomon, who's basically the third Democrat impeachment manager in the Larry Krasner case, he's been basically voicing the entire Krasner defense and then otherwise not participating. But I know he's one of the candidates on the Democrat side, and I think there are upwards of 5 or 8 candidates. So I don't know at this point. My focus is on winning over state committee in the Republican Party and then winning a Republican primary.
Right. Well, which we hope happens. So where do we go? Do you have a website? Do you have an operation set up, Craig Williams, at this point?
Yep, we do. It's craigwilliams4pa.com. And Dom, you can see my opening video on there. It's about a minute and a half of my statement for the case for why I should be the Attorney General of Pennsylvania.
craigwilliams4pa.com. And does the website too, I just wanted to remind listeners, of your multi-varied military service and ranking in the military.
Yeah, and I appreciate you bringing that up. I'm a nearly 30-year career Marine Corps colonel. I was a combat veteran in Desert Storm, where I flew in the F-18, 56 combat missions. I was a federal prosecutor in the Department of Justice in both Denver, Colorado, and Philadelphia, where I did violent crime, drug crime, immigration crime, and then served also on the Joint Terrorism Task Force. And in the later part of my military career, I was the head prosecutor of the Marine Corps Reserve, and also deputy legal counsel to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And in the Republican side, nor on the Democrat side, is there anyone who can hold a candle to that kind of record.
I wouldn't agree more. Very few people in the country could. I'm racking through my brain, and I don't have an answer. I'll have to get back to you on that. Hey, Craig, thank you. Good luck today. Not that you'll need it. It's an ironclad case, but I know how these things might turn out. So thank you. To be continued.
Yep. Absolutely. Talk to you soon, Dom. Take care.
Representative Craig Williams. I mentioned that military thing at the end, Dan. I think with our listeners, it still matters a good bit. Doesn't mean the person, just because they were a colonel in Marines at 56 combat missions, et cetera, ought to be the candidate. But it means, I think, you give a long, hard look. Now, Jack Stolzheimer, Dan, you were here that first time when he hung up.
My name is Jack Stolzheimer, not Larry Krasner.
But there have been the last two times he's been on because, look, I call him as I see him. How could I criticize what he's done with Chester? He's been a major force. But you heard Craig Williams.
You are in error. And what you should probably do is stop reading the Republican blogs and actually look at the facts.
Since he's running, Dan, I think it'd be a good time to get him on again. And I want to hear exactly what crimes he says he's not going to prosecute. I mean, we go through this again and again and again. Now, if you want to make your case that small crimes of possession, I guess that's what he's saying, shouldn't be prosecuted, well, you can make that case. That's a legislative thing, though. But if you're the DA, or if you want to say you're not going to, You're not going to nail a person for a long prison sentence, something like that, but you have to enforce the existing laws, right? Otherwise, why are you running to be the attorney general? All right, we'll see if we get him back on. And again, I try to be even-handed with him. All right, you heard Craig Williams. Just wanted you to know where the Krasner thing stands. I know some people get upset. Now, you heard what he said, too. As attorney general, he's right. There would be the ability to swoop in Philadelphia, and a felon's caught with a gun, bang, the attorney general can prosecute him. Other cases, Bill McSwain did this as a federal prosecutor, but he was more limited than the attorney general would be here. Josh Shapiro could have done that. He talked big, but he didn't do it. All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210. That's how you get in. AT&T and Verizon Wireless, all you have to do is push pound 1210. Don't forget the side question.
I love this answer on Twitter, man.
The Nicky Santoro one?
No.
Oh, what do you have?
It's another one. I mean, well, we're asking who's somebody that a lot of people see as authentic, but you see through as fake.
Right.
You ever watch Storage Wars?
I know of it. I don't know if I've seen
it.
Yeah.
Dave from Storage Wars, but Marcus writes in the cast of Storage Wars, the entire cast of Storage Wars. They try to portray themselves as so authentic, but you know that they're swindlers behind the scenes. Come on.
All right. We're not just going for not authentic. We're going with swindlers here. Just like the Nicky Santoro comment and the Pat Boone comment. All right. 855-839-1210. Notice, Stan, there's not a mob outside because I said Taylor Swift. They're not coming at me. Our listeners are not going to be defending Taylor Swift on this.
I don't know, man. On our YouTube channel, Paul writes that it's not nice to diss the most popular entertainer on the planet, especially since she'll probably be a finalist at minimum for Times Magazine's Person of the Year because it's Taylor's world.
Oh, God. Yeah, I love doing the Time Magazine Person of the Year. We have our own. In what universe is she the Person of the Year? Come on. I mean, I get the stir. I get what she's done. It is second to none.
They did an entire Dancing with the Stars Taylor Swift edition where she wasn't even present. Like she didn't show up. They just danced her songs.
So,
and she was like connected on a video screen to thank them for doing it.
All right, it's a little bit early, but you mean out of the whole world, there's nobody else other than Taylor Swift due to these pop culture accomplishments. That's the person of the year.
I don't agree with it, but you don't think
Okay,
that
no,
the corporate media is going to celebrate the crap out of her after everything this theater tour she's had? She has news with
It's
the
no
Travis
doubt.
Kelce.
It's big. Yeah, that part. The NFL. I'm sure the NFL is saying to Time Magazine, "Hey, we'll put 100,000 Time magazines in the stands or something. Put Taylor Swift in there." All right.
You think they put Benjamin Netanyahu as the person of the year? They should, but they won't.
I think they might put Hamas in there.
Yeah, you wouldn't be surprised if they did.
And I get why they would do it. It's important. Taylor Swift, Hamas. Oh, God. I'd have to come.
Didn't think that comparison would be made.
No. All right. 855-839-1210. All right. Who is not authentic, even though a lot of people think they're very authentic? Oprah. I'll take Oprah off the list. I don't see it there. All right.
Liz Cheney was said on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Lesser Cuomo.
I think
Who's
he's
a lesser anymore? I don't even know. Is it Chris, I guess?
Yeah, I think he's authentic. I mean, we've seen enough of him to know now.
No, I think he tries too hard. Remember when he had COVID and he was down in the basement and he tried to
that
make
part,
a whole thing
but I meant he's so outed that how could he put up any pretense? Like the test is, do a lot of people see him as authentic? I don't think they ever did. So I would not say that's a winner. I get it. He's not authentic. I agree with you. Yeah.
And this one hurts too. This one hurts a lot because he's right. It's Robert. He says Dave Matthews.
I don't know enough. You have more Dave Matthews now.
He does a really good job at making his fans think he's authentic, lovable persona. But like when I went and saw him, I think he was drugged out of his mind.
Okay.
It was like I don't know if Dave Matthews is exactly how he presents himself.
Somebody took a shot at Jimmy Buffett yesterday on this show, and I think he is as he presents himself. Definitely.
I think Jimmy's very authentic.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I think he's.
All right, it's the holiday season. Next, you're going to be telling me Santa's not authentic, but I'll tell you who is. Captain Chucky's. Time to get those orders in for your holiday parties and get-togethers. How about bringing a Captain Chucky's tray to share to the holiday get-togethers you're attending? Visit Captain Chucky's today. Get the new bangin' crab ravioli or lobster ravioli with their amazing blush sauce. Also, try Captain Chucky's brand new product, Philly Famous Clams Casino, mouth-watering addition to your table. Captain Chucky's also has several choices of breaded, non-breaded crab cakes, literally a crab cake for everybody. Dessert, soup, sides, appetizers, my personal favorite, that Dom roll. And they use only the highest quality ingredients. Their Golf Shrimp, a huge hit. It's always wild caught, never farm raised. Perfect time to order for holiday entertaining, but do it now. Visit Captain Chucky's locations everywhere. New owners, Frank Falacci and Michaela Burns in Colmar, John and Cindy Clark in Huntington Valley, Tony and Jamie Parson in Cinnaminson, Runnymede, New Jersey, the Vogelsang family in Flowertown, my stop point. See the Smaraglia family in Ocean City, Chris and Donna Ryan in Seattle, the McCann family, Seattle and Ocean City, open Fridays and Saturdays, noon to 5. And congrats to Sam Cancelleri, Irish Mike McGarry, as Medford, New Jersey is going strong. Northeast Philly, the home circle now open. Congrats to the Graziani family. Remember, for all this stuff, because it's quite a lot, we love crabcakes.com. Coming up, the education secretary on paper, the guy that's supposed to not be ignorant of history and tutor kids. Wait until you hear what he said about Ronald Reagan. Next on the Dom Giordano Show. Classic hair, too. We were looking at Ms. McKnight yesterday, who passed at the age of 80, I think. Dom Giordano's show. All right, Miguel Cardona, an undistinguished education secretary at best. Listen to him talking about government helping people. And this man actually quotes Ronald Reagan. He takes the Reagan famous quote and he uses it to say even Ronald Reagan agreed that government has a role in helping people.
Oh, man.
You know, we're going to set up follow-up calls with every governor we met with to make sure we're available. As I think it was President Reagan said, we're from the government. We're here to help. There are resources there, there's technical assistance there, and there's a playbook that could support the work you're doing. Count on us as a partner in this. Our students are waiting. Thank you.
How come there were no groans in that crowd when he said, as Ronald Reagan said, we're from the government, we're here to help? And he's saying it. It's a Saturday Night Live. They got to put this guy on Saturday Night Live.
9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
That was the cornerstone of the Reagan joking. Did you notice how good Reagan's voice is there too? Very underrated.
Yeah.
Feels like he's on top of the mic from on high, coming down on you. All right.
So hold on real quick. Do you think he just misquoted him, or do you think he completely misunderstood the quote?
He misunderstood the quote.
Yeah, after all these years, you wouldn't think.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Wow.
He's out
He's
again.
A moron, I guess.
And he's the head of the education department. America's in good hands. By the way, a referendum in San Francisco, they're going to vote on it. Should 8th graders be learning algebra? Equity. They say some kids, it's bad, can't do that. Make them wait another couple of years. My God, don't give Philadelphia ideas. Big 1 o'clock hour next, Talk Radio 1210.